Voice of sharing Durian ASEAN.
ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hi, this is Arlene and you are listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. Of course, again today we have more news to give to you on Southeast Asia. To start off, news about the ASEAN Infrastructure Investment Bank. A lot of people might not realize this, but actually half of European Union and all of ASEAN are now members of China's alternative to the World Bank, which is, of course, short for AIIB. And the ASEAN Infrastructure Investment Bank is China's answer to somehow provide the kind of services and also the kind of services that World Bank do provide in a way that is dominated by, of course, the US. And of course, is also another answer to ASEAN Development Bank. So it's considered a potential rival to those two banks. Well, despite the US effort to pressure a lot of countries, including their own allies, to not join the bank, unfortunately, its official roster, including a lot of its closest allies, for example, the UK, and so on and so forth, and including 4 of the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Councils, half of European Union, and all 10 member states of ASEAN, or Association of Southeast Asian Nations, are all part of the ASEAN Infrastructure Investment Bank. That's such a mouthful. Anyway, just to give a bit of a brief, countries among the countries that are part of the AIIB is Sweden, Israel, South Africa, Azerbaijan, Iceland, Portugal, and Poland, and the last 7 countries to apply by the deadline to be founding members of the bank, according to the Ministry of Finance today. Notably absent from the of course, the complete list released today is the United States, Japan, and China. United States, Japan, Canada, and Taiwan. Apologies on that. These are close allies to the US, and apparently these are the only countries that haven't yet joined the AIIB, but you never know, they might be considering joining. For example, Canada has somehow expressed to join AIIB, while of course Taiwan's application was rejected. As you all know, China sees Taiwan as still part of China. Anyway, a lot of the critics, of course, are worrying that Beijing will wield outsized power through the AIIB, using the bank to further its own goal in the Asia Pacific, while another group of people, another analysts worry that the institution won't hold standards of transparency, debt sustainability, or consider environmental and social issues when funding projects. China officials have repeatedly saying that the bank will be apolitical and sustainable, and that the AIIB goal is to fund needed infrastructure projects in the region of course, Asia Pacific. They will have no veto power and have promised that the AIIB funding will not be tied to China or Chinese contracts. The bank is not a political organization nor political alliance. This is being confirmed by a former Deputy Finance Minister of China, Jin Li-chun, tipped as the possible head of the bank, adding that the bank would be clean, lean, and green. While on the other hand, economist Joseph Stiglitz, as we all know, he was formerly part of the World Bank, points out that the AIIB's defense, China efforts aren't all that different from the American policy after the Second World War, when the World Bank was established in order to be a multilateral development funding bank. Of course, the U.S. concern is less about the bank's governance and transparency, but of course it's about saving face. It's about America's insecurity of its global influence. That's the reality. I think China and the U.S. probably already realize the U.S. is no longer the dominant force in this globalized world. China is growing tremendously in terms of its influential and power. Of course, the AIIB is one of the, I guess, indicator of China's growing power over the global society. And in fact, regarding on the bank itself, China has proposed giving ASEAN nations a larger stake in the institution than the European ones, splitting a 75% quota between Asian countries based on their economic size, according to Reuters. Well, this setup is convenient given that China is the largest vote. So there you go. You have China somehow, just going to grow larger and larger, especially in the face of Southeast Asia, and ASEAN needs to be prepared to handle the growing power of China in a way. Besides China, of course, we have India. India has always been not so keen on Southeast Asia, but not until today. In fact, only now India will be officially begin their diplomatic mission to ASEAN. This is really something that is, I guess, a tremendous move by India towards this region. For so long, India has always been looking at this, policy in the Middle East, with Pakistan, with the US and Europe, but seldom or rarely about ASEAN. But India's influence in Southeast Asia has been since the ancient kingdoms of the Hindu-Buddha kingdoms in Southeast Asia. So it's kind of wanting to reconnect back on its past mission to Southeast Asia. So it is set to officially begin its diplomatic mission in the ASEAN region in a few days later, which is on April 22nd, in a bid to boost ties with member states and what it calls as a unique grouping of countries with high economic potential. In fact, the Indian ambassador to ASEAN, Suresh K. Reddy, said India's relations with ASEAN were very important because the current economic potential existing between his country and ASEAN. He said India has a robust flow of investments into Southeast Asia nation and vice versa. Our trade is healthy. In fact, he said that the sidelines of soft opening of the Indian mission to ASEAN held in central Jakarta on Monday, just a few days ago. Suresh said that the value of trade between India and ASEAN was currently at $90 billion, but hopefully could be increased to twice its size, which is at $200 billion. The newly installed ambassador said that India and ASEAN will similar in terms of economic growth, which was led by the private sector. When we look at the economic growth of India and ASEAN members, actually there's a lot of potential to be tapped into. This is what being said by Suresh, the Indian ambassador to ASEAN. And in fact, he's expecting more economic partnership between both sides of the countries, and a lot of the synergy a lot of the existing synergy between India's private sector and that of ASEAN countries. That's the focus of India right now. And in fact, their relationship, which is India's relationship, it's not suddenly started today or yesterday. It's a relationship that is based on shared history and traditions. So in a way that we are definitely reconnecting back with India, our ancient diplomatic relationship with India in the past, connecting it back together. On the other news, also regarding on bank, earlier on we talked about the AIIB, but now we talk about bank integration among ASEAN countries. ASEAN bank integration seems to take longer than expected. Unfortunately, it may take as long as 5 more years or until 2020 before Southeast Asia's banking industry becomes fully integrated. This is being confirmed by regulators as they unveil the staggered time frame for cross-border operations of the region's lenders. In a statement, the Bangkok Central Pilipinas or BSP said that the region's regulators agreed on stringent rules for the implementation of the Southeast Asia Nation Association of Southeast Asian Nation Banking Integration Framework or ABIF. Finalized last March 21st, ABIF rules paved the way for countries to start bilateral talks with neighbors regarding on the operations of their banks. It is part of the integral to the achievement of a financially and economically integrated ASEAN region. Despite the approval of the region-wide deal, bilateral talks are still needed because not all ASEAN countries are ready for the integration. BSP Governor Armando M. Tetanco Jr. said that with ABIF, the region will adapt to new regimes step by step. The ASEAN's most immediate goal is for at least 2 of the 10 members to sign a bilateral deal that will open up their respective banking sectors. I guess until now we still don't have a clear bilateral agreement yet. But by 2018, each of the so-called ASEAN 5, namely the original ASEAN members, which is Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand, should all have at least one bilateral deal with one another in the region. By 2020, all member states must each have at least one bilateral deal with their neighbors, ensuring reciprocity of one of the goals of bilateral talks. The Tanko earlier said countries should agree to open their industries to each other's respective banks. While last year, Philippines legislature approved the liberalization of banking sector and allowed the entry of more foreign lenders. So there you go. It will take a longer time, but definitely by 2020 we'll see almost all of the banks in Southeast Asia, especially ASEAN banks, will be liberalized and will be able to move freely across the region. We'll take one short break. When we return, we'll have more news from Southeast Asia.
ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hi, this is Arlene. We are back again on our ASEAN Daily. So first off, we are going to go to nature and wildlife. So apparently there's a rare Myanmar roof turtle, and this group of turtles, they are mounting a comeback. So you can't keep a good turtle down, as Myanmar roofed turtle. I don't know how to really pronounce it, or scientifically it's called Batagur trivitata. Is proving that it's still surviving in its native land. The Wildlife Conservation Society announced that 60 of the distinctive turtle with the upturned nose have been released in the wild of the riverbanks in Myanmar. And the turtle today considered the second most critically endangered species of turtle in the world, according to the WCS, and was once thought to be extinct until it was rediscovered again in 2001. And in 2007, the WCS and the Turtle Survival Alliance teamed on a program to raise the animals in captivity using eggs collected from the wild in an effort to protect the species until its number grew large enough to repopulate the wild. The program was a success, so much so that a special facility in a Lipa village was built to house and raise the turtles, which now number around 300 individuals. And the interesting part of it is this is the first chapter of a longer story yet to be written. And during the ceremony of honoring the release of the 60 turtle in the wild, the regional herpetologist Dr. Stephen Platt for WCS said that it's one of the will hopefully to see that Myanmar roofed turtle restored as a functional member of this remote riverine landscape. So in a way that we are excited where turtles are repopulating again in Myanmar, especially such a unique looking turtle. Love to see its notes. On the other hand, in Cambodia, human rights is definitely becomes a major issue in the country, especially the first group of refugees from the tiny Pacific island of Nauru are expected to be flown to Cambodia as early as next week as part of the controversial 40 million resettlement deal between Australia and Cambodia. Up to 10 people are believed to have said they will abandon their hope of living in Australia and make their journey to impoverished Cambodia. A letter circulating among refugees on Nauru said that the first flight from the island will be as soon as Monday, providing an opportunity for you and your family to start a new life in a quote-unquote safe country, free from persecution and violence, and build your future. While at the same time, Australian government has yet to confirm the flight. The letter says that the refugees will be accommodated in the style of a service apartment, guest house and villa upon their arrival in Phnom Penh before case managers find them long-term accommodation and training and provide other support. The first group that has indicated their indicated they will get on the plane are believed to be from several families. The letter, which appear to be from Australian government, says no limit has been set on the number of refugees who can settle in Cambodia. The number is expected to grow over time. Refugee advocates have said that Australia will find it difficult to convince refugees to agree to board the plane and resettle in Cambodia, one of Asia's poorest nations with a questionable human rights track record. At the same time, Refugee Action Coalition and Rautul said that the letter was distributed by Australian immigration workers to some refugees' houses and that there were no hard evidence anyone has yet agreed to go or that a plane had been chartered. In a champagne sipping ceremony last year, Cambodia signed an agreement with Australia to accept a small group of refugees on a trial base, prompting condemnation from Cambodia's opposition parties and refugees and human rights groups. In fact, critics say that the country is ill-equipped to support any more refugees, and those already in the country are suffering hardships and discrimination. From my point of view, I don't quite understand why Cambodia, Australia can do better in terms of human rights. To transfer or to wash their hands on the issue of refugees in their own country is really a very irresponsible act. Especially Australia has signed the convention for the protection of refugee, and I think they should be the ones, be able to provide a good accommodation and also a new home for these refugees. And most of these refugees are political refugees. They have to flee their own country for reasons that they are unable to protect themselves from the political situation of the country. So in a way, I guess in terms of human rights track records, Australia is definitely going downhill in dealing with refugees. On the other hand, talking about human rights, a body was found in Laos where Britain, which is a British journalist, went missing. A body has been found in the search for a missing British national in Laos, and officials said that after reports of a tourist boat sinking during a cruise on the Mekong River. BBC have reported a 37-year-old Johanna Powell, a picture editor for the broadcaster's hub in Wales, was reported missing after the boat capsized during a holiday in which she was celebrating a friend's 40th birthday. British Foreign and Commonwealth officer confirmed a body has been recovered in the search for a missing national but has not yet been identified. And they are working together with the local authority and provide consular assistance to the family. BBC said that Powell was traveling with 3 friends from Wales as part of the group of 10 on the boat when it hit a rock in rapids as soon as it capsized. There you go. When it comes to going to another country, I guess one of the most important thing is to make sure that safety is number one. But it's hard to ensure that safety it's hard to ensure security and safety in a country where you do not know that well in terms of how the security and safety and also the equipment are well managed by the authorities and also by the local people in that area. So when you are going traveling, I guess you need to take extra precautions. We will take another short break. When we return, we will have more discussion on Southeast Asia.
ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hi, this is Arlene. You're back again with me on ASEAN Daily. So, when it comes to wedding, of course, no wedding is grander than the royal wedding of Brunei Prince. Just to give a bit of an update, what is happening right now is the super rich Sultanate of Brunei has seen the most lavish wedding of the year. Prince Abdul Malik has just tied the knot with IT expert Dayangku Rabiatul Adawiyah Pengiran Haji Bolkiah in a ceremony that lasted, guess what, 11 days. It's such a grand event. You can see it on the photos, very yellowish gold, a lot of really interesting details of the royal weddings. I think if you just Google it, you might be blown away and how lavish and magnificent it is, the wedding. A lot of people, or a lot of girls will be eyeing in green, looking at how beautiful the bride is and how beautiful the wedding is. On the other hand, not so good news about Malaysia. So, apparently, Malaysia just discovered the hideouts and hunt for 3 Islamic State militants. Malaysia has mounted a manhunt for 3 citizens with links to the Islamic State IS militant group. This is confirmed by Deputy Home Minister Wan Junaidi Tunku Jaafar, and they have found a possible hideout and that their families were contacted, but they cannot reveal more information due to the ongoing investigation. The trio are among the 119 Malaysians involved with the Islamic State, adding that those identified, 16 have been arrested in Malaysia, 46 are still in Syria, and 10 have been killed in the conflict in Syria. Those that detained included 17 nabbed 2 weeks ago for allegedly plotting to carry out terrorist attacks in the country's capital. On the other hand, Malaysia also is having problems with Thailand because 3 Malaysian masterminds wanted in Thailand over U-Fund permit scheme. 3 Malaysians believed to be behind the U-Fund Store Co-Limited and alleged pyramid scheme in Thailand and are being hunted by Thai authorities. According to a report by Thai Rand Online, that the 3 Malaysians and a Thai national were found to have fled prior to police raids on their homes in Bangkok, and they are looking into its business and found that it was in fact a pyramid scheme. This is according to the Thai police investigative police, and they are revoking its corporate license on April 8 and sought 8 arrest warrants for its shareholders and directors, 3 of whom are Thailand. And this is confirmed by Thai Police Chief Somyat Pompam Mount. And the business model involved getting new recruits to invest in a tiered membership scheme ranging from the lowest $500 to the highest $50,000 for which they receive discounts on purchases. On another news regarding on the update of MH17, 5 Malaysians among team to renew search on the MH17 crash sites. Dutch and international investigators will renew their search for body parts and debris in the MH17 plane crash site in Rostov, eastern Ukraine, including a location previously considered unsafe, and the team's chief will be announcing it on the team itself will be conducting the investigation starting from today. This is confirmed by Pieter Jaap Albergsberg from The Hawk. So we hope that more investigation can be looked through into finding the cause of why the airplane was blown into bits in the middle of the air. That's all from us today. We hope that you can keep up with us with more news from Southeast Asia, and of course later on we have the durian hit where we discuss critical issue this time in Malaysia regarding on the new Prevention of Terrorism Act, where we have Malaysian experts discussing on whether POTA Act itself is something that we should reconsider or not.